Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda, and before we get this video started, I just want to say that I am so hyped. It's getting closer to holiday season, and by holiday season I mean Christmas time. Thanksgiving's cool. Halloween I never really cared for, but here in Colorado in October we start to get eggnog in stores. I'm so excited because I freaking love eggnog. I wish it was year round, especially eggnog in my coffee. It's such a good combo. So yeah, I'm already super excited. Anyway, this is not an eggnog like endorsement video, although I would love to be sponsored by some eggnog. I'll be showing you guys some plants that I hate. Hate's maybe a strong word, but I don't like, but I haven't gotten rid of for one reason or another. I'll get into it later. Yeah, so let's see if you guys hate some of the same plants that I hate, but for some reason I haven't or won't to get rid of. All right, the first plant that I hate, I haven't decided yet, is the Hystopylia. I forget the exact variety, so I will of course put the name for every plant on here. But it's cool looking. It has a really nice texture and it's relatively easy care. It kind of just likes to be neglected. But I only bought this plant because I love the flowers on Hystopylias and they're so freaking tight, but I have yet to get one, and I'll put photos if you don't know what they look like. They really look like they're flowers out of like Stranger Things or something, and they're just so cool. And normally I'm not a flower person. Like on most plants, if I get like on a peperomia, if I get those little blooms, I chop them all off because I don't want them taking away any energy from the plant itself. But on this plant, it's the other way around. Like, I do not really care for the foliage of the plant. I just want the flowers. So I refuse to get rid of this plant until I get one bloom. So the next plant that I hate, it doesn't even really look like a plant right now. It's not totally the plant's fault. I mean, this was a ficus umbellata and I loved it when I first got it. And I'm not a ficus person normally. Like, I hate fiddle leaf figs. I don't really care for any of the other varieties that I've seen. Like, they're pretty, but I just know they can be finicky, whatever. But the umbellata was just so cool because it just had the gorgeous green leaves. They're so huge. I'll put a photo of what it used to look like. But it was unfortunately covered in pests. I think at first it was mealybugs when I first got it, so I quarantined it. And then after that, before I even put it back into my collection, it had spider mites, was it pain? So I was then paranoid because I was like, okay, this literally had two different types of pests on it when I first purchased it. So instead of just putting it back, I chopped all the foliage off just because that's going to be easier maintenance, and then put it back with normal care. I wouldn't hate it if it didn't look like this, you know, and didn't give me that trouble. But if you can see, I'm trying to find where they are. Oh, there we go. Right here, we have some little leaves coming in, and I think up here at the top, hopefully that's even focusing, I don't know, can you see? There's some more. So it's super exciting. Even down here, one more right here. Ooh! I love how cute those little leaves are. Like, oh my God, I don't want to knock it off. That's literally my pinky. It's so freaking tiny. So cute. So yeah, I'm sure once it kind of gets back to its normal lush self, I will love this plant once again. So I feel like I have said this in videos. I've definitely said this on my Instagram before, but Hoyas were never really my jam. I have a couple that I love, and this one I don't think I love. When I bought this, it was sold to me for a very cheap price. And the seller put in the information that the reason why she was selling it for so little amount of money was just because it was giving her problems, like the way it's kind of stretched out, the leaves aren't very compact. Yeah, so lacking humidity is what I assumed, and I have brought it into my home. It desperately needs a water right now, actually. But besides that, this is still pretty much what it looks like. And I have gotten no growth since I brought it into my home, and I know Hoyas can be slow to adapt, but I've had this for like 5 months, 6 months maybe. And I had it in a humidity dome, hasn't helped. I keep my humidity pretty high in this room with my humidifier, plus all of the plants that are in here already. And yeah, I think like it's about time to just say goodbye, you know? I think this is probably going to be the first plant that I get rid of in this plants that I don't like video, because now I'm looking at it and talking about it, I don't like it. So yeah, I think I just decided this one I'm going to get rid of. Okay, so don't judge me, because this peperomia desperately needs a water. Look at all those droopy leaves. So I remember when I first started collecting houseplants and I was super into peperomias. I always had one in a watermelon. I had like 10 different varieties, I think. And then I just kind of was over it. So I ended up getting rid of them all. And I still always liked this one, but anytime I saw it in stores, it was always in like a Home Depot or Lowe's. So it kind of looked like trash. The leaves were really small. I wasn't into it. But I saw, so someone I follow on Instagram, I'll put her name right here. She posted a photo of the peperomia with the watermelon one, and it was huge. Like, it had giant leaves, like bigger than this, but like at least this big, you know? And I saw that and I thought, oh my God, like I love the watermelon peperomia when they're big. So I waited and I was at a Home Depot and I finally found one, and this one it's healthy. Like, it looked great. It wasn't, some of the leaves were damaged, I think, from cold when I first got it. Like, you could see the back, but that's okay. That's just superficial, but the leaves were nice. It looked very mature. There's actually 2 stalks in here. So, oh look, see, a bloom. Yeah, so I do love it, but for some reason, peperomias, I can't get them to thrive. Like, I can take care of them. I mean, obviously this doesn't look like it because it needs to be watered, but I feel like I'm constantly stuck between waiting too long to water and then overwatering, and a couple of stems will fall off because, you know, overwatering rot. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do. I almost want to get rid of it because it's just becoming a pain in my ass, but I want those giant peperomia leaves, and I do love the pattern. Like, the foliage is so pretty. So maybe I'll get this longer and just do better. Okay, so this is a philodendron. I believe it was one of the first philodendrons I ever purchased. It was sold to me as a Macaulay's finale or whatever, Macaulay's something. And it almost looks like a Congo, but I don't think it is. The leaf shapes are a little bit different. Like, I'm looking at my Congo right now, and like these ones are a little bit more rounded out than the Congo, but this is also a very immature version of it compared to my giant one I have. So I don't know. And then when I see photos of the Macaulay online, sometimes their leaves look a lot more orange when they're coming in. Not like Prince of Orange, but more orangey toned, and mine definitely are not. So this plant grows so quickly, it is insane, which is really cool, but I also haven't given it anything to climb, which is my fault. So the leaves are starting to get significantly smaller, which I don't really like. It's starting to lean a little bit because it needs some support. I think the main reason why I won't get rid of this plant, or I'm always towing the line with whether or not I should get rid of it, is because I think I have some sentimental value to it because it was one of my first ones. So I'm just kind of feeling like, oh, I can't get rid of it. Like, I could look back in like 5 years and say I've had this plant for a really long time and it was one of my first plants and look how massive it is. I don't know, that's how I'm thinking, so I kind of don't want to get rid of it. And it's not that I dislike it, I dislike how I let it grow. So I honestly think what I'm going to do is use this as an opportunity to experiment with propagating with a philodendron. So I think I'll cut at the stalk, like right where it starts bending. I think I'll snip right here and I'll take that top cutting. Maybe I'll even snip this top cutting in half again, I don't know. And then I will definitely provide it with a stake, maybe. I don't know. It's just, I don't like leggy vines on trailing plants. Definitely don't like the leggy look on any trunk-like philodendrons like this. Probably the most controversial plant that I really dislike because it is so hyped up at the moment, and it's the Philodendron mikins. And I only hate it. It's a beautiful plant. The nice velvety leaves, you can have it climbing or trailing. And then the tones of the leaves are really beautiful. Like, you got the red underneath with that velvet green on top. Great looking plant. This was very full when I first got it. For some reason, my mikins hates me. I believe at first I was giving it some sunburn, so I moved it because they were showing signs of too much sun. And then I think it just was having a hard time adapting. It was becoming very leggy. I think I gave it too little sun. And then I think just all the moving around, which I know better. I know I don't know why I kept moving it around to a billion different spots. It didn't react very well to it. So I have taken cuttings from it before, which are thriving in their new pots by themselves now. And I kind of did that as a backup because I really thought for a while that this mother plant was going to die. I think after I took all those cuttings and then some of them died off, so I had to take out some stems. I still had it in the same pot and it was in too big of a pot. So I think it was then starting to suffer from being overwatered because, well, not overwatered, but it was holding too much moisture and it was in too big of a pot. So I did downsize it to this little pot. Oh, and it has since then been pretty happy. And I'm not gonna move it. I'm gonna keep it in its same spot and I'm just gonna leave it alone because I love seeing pictures of full lush mikins in a pot and it's so nice. So I really want that. For the last plant, it's actually up on my plant wall grid. It is this birkin. I'm sure most of you watching this know that birkins were very hyped up and hard to find for a bit. They like all of a sudden came out on the market and then they just exploded. Everyone wanted one. And they're cool. Like there's cool variegation and I love philodendron, so of course I love it. And luckily mine has not reverted yet. Although it does kind of look cool when you see some that are starting to revert and it has like the splotches of red. Still, I'll put a photo in because those are really cool looking, but I don't know. This plant, again, I don't hate it. I kind of don't love it as much as I used to. Part of it is because it started just producing very tiny leaves, and all the leaves, for a while, it was giving me almost purely white leaves. So they would die off, obviously, because there wasn't enough green to get all that chlorophyll and stuff. So I think that's what was frustrating me, was the fact that it was giving me tiny leaf growth, which again is okay, but like these leaves are nice size. I like big leaves. So hopefully it can bounce back. I also did kind of move it into a spot with lower light just because I was like, I don't really care. Like, I don't really love this plant that much anymore. I don't really want to get rid of it yet. It looks really cool hanging on the plant wall. Like being, oh my God, my wrist. It looks cool hanging on the plant wall at this angle when you're looking at it that way. So maybe I'll just leave it, and if it starts to get baby leaves, I'll just let it do its thing and it'll just be a weird looking birkin. Those were all the plants that I kind of hate at this moment, and I do the quotes around hate because, again, if you watched, you saw I didn't really hate all of them. I just kind of disliked some of them. Some of them I just was whatever about, had sentimental value, or some I know I'll love again once they bounce back from being infested in pests. Besides that, I think for sure I will be getting rid of my Hoya carnosa compacta, that one, the Hindu rope. I think 100% I will get rid of that plant. The other ones I'm not so sure yet. I think the next one that I would probably get rid of would probably be my watermelon peperomia. Yeah, so comment and let me know if any of these plants you also hate or dislike, or tell me what plants you have sentimental value to that is keeping you from getting rid of that plant. You can find me on Instagram, planty tings, and I appreciate any comment, any like, any subscribe, any engagement at all. I love talking with new people, so especially when it's about plants. All right, so I will see you in my next video, and I hope you have a good day.